Shirley here with Sirius Talisman, and this is Sol Hour, Mercury Day. Sun is on the galactic center, trining Aries. In Aries. And it's a good time to contemplate about Aries trining the galactic center and my midheaven, which explains a lot. And Aries squaring Jupiter, conjoining Chiron. We talked about a lot, but the square with Jupiter in Aries and the trine with the Sun and Aries. So Aries is very much associated to the type of scientific and social and political changes that are completely revolutionizing the world. Particularly for people that have Aries significant in transit or in the natal chart. For example, I wrote Sugar Free Lemonade, talked about yin signs, wrote my thesis proposal, the essay on ESP, during Uranus conjoining Aries in my second house of skill. And I predicted that the topic for the next war will be related to the Me Too. And I predicted that it will be a lot bigger because I said, if there was Second World War, 2 generations of men, now I say not only men, I was aware of how primitive elder women can be, even if they're academic. Maybe not primitive, maybe the primitive knew more, but I don't know. But no, if they violate sexual sovereignty, this is primitive. I'm sorry. I don't care the origin. White academic women, okay? Primitive. Now, that was when Uranus was conjoining Aries in my second house. And I was writing a satire that later I will find out was about extortion cults. So, like I said, Uranus conjoining Aries was quite significant for me. It triggered Mars in my ninth house. Now, Uranus is conjoining Sedna on my Chiron, and Chiron is going over the ruler Mercury with Aries. I have a midpoint that is next to Procyon. The Jupiter is going through. My natal moon is squaring Aries, so I have the natal disposition to be an agent of chaos. As what causes emotional safety for me might trigger a Trojan War. It's not for nothing that I'm the person that talks about the sexual sovereignty. Now, I want to meditate about the Sun trining Aries, which is an agreement between the Sun and Chiron and the Sun and Aries. And the sun is ruled by Jupiter, that is squaring Aries. Jupiter square Aries is discoveries to do with philosophy, religion, and sovereignty, and war. Jupiter in Cancer, affecting the people, the beliefs of the people. I talk about that a lot. The beliefs of the people maybe about moon family, or even the moon itself. And the actions of individuals to assert sovereignty through chaos. I think about the time, for example, during Holocaust, and I saw this when I was in between houses, how chaos was created to move amongst an irrational environment. Creating chaos was allowing someone to proceed, but it required tremendous energy. While Jupiter rules cohesion here, safety, so to assert one individual rights, people had to throw chaos through anything cohesive. And here the emphasis is to assert their sexual sovereignty. They had to throw chaos on the beliefs of people regarding safety. Okay. Jupiter also squares Chiron, and Chiron in Aries. Moon with Lilith. Chiron 22 is accentuating to Aries that the assassination component of chaos. But the square Jupiter or assassination is a challenge to cohesion. Or beliefs and emotional safety challenged by chaos that people create so to avoid the kill and be killed situations. Aries is still in orb to square Pluto, which means that Aries and Pluto disagree on the power measures versus, how should I say this? The scales is not so much in line or it's in tension with Pluto's assertion or oscillation of power. Jupiter is applying to Pluto, to oppose Pluto, which would mean a T-square between Pluto, Chiron, Aries, and Jupiter. I'm sorry, Jupiter now separating because it's retrograde, but it will apply when in a year. What makes one benevolent and optimistic has to do with sexual sovereignty, also in occult, and it is in tension with the oscillations of power of Pluto, or in direct confrontation even because to be benevolent one needs to be sexually sovereign, but also to do with the cycles of the moon and occult. Although Lilith and the moon sextile Pluto. There's an inconjunct between Aries and the moon and the black moon Lilith. Chiron is a life and death situation. Aries is the I am. And it's to do with sovereignty. And there's a wound around the ability to assert that sovereignty. And this life and death situation who is Chiron agreeing with now? The Sun. The Sun and Chiron, Chiron and Aries agree with the Sun that is on the galactic center. But the Sun is ruled by this Jupiter that's in opposition to Pluto, but right in Saturn Neptune. So the big social changes, which is Aries topics, are to do with leadership and religion. This is because of the Sun, leadership, Jupiter religion. I'm sorry, but Procyon is peace, so the religion of peace. I've, yes, this is. What is happening? Is there something that I don't know about? The religion of peace, but this is in direct confrontation with Pluto and Jupiter squares Chiron and Aries. Venus is also about to conjoin the Sun. Women Muslim leaders? Look, I don't know. The religion of peace, you know. Jupiter is trining Saturn and Neptune. So Aries is a weapon that throws chaos, particularly in Aries, okay? Weapon. Chiron, there's a wound around the killing. The wound can be because, oh, if you think about A-bombs, the way A-bombs work is there's this guy that was ex-CIA agent, he explained this, and he said, there are people sitting, he didn't say the people are mind controlled, but we know that. Okay, at this level he doesn't need to say it. Mundane effects of extortion calls on the person that drops the A-bomb is mind controlled. And they've been told order to press the button. They don't know if it's drill or not. The wound now what's happened if by mistake go find who did the mind control though. It's a personality cult. Now it's a really big bomb. When will Jupiter? When will Jupiter 22? From tomorrow, which means later today, Jupiter will 22. So we have 18 December, which is Jupiter Day, where I am. 19 December, 20 December, this is day 3, 4, 5, 23rd, 18. Still 5, 6, safe, eh? Tamania. Nef. C'est tout. 9 days is the number of the moon. It's a number of completion. We are in year 9, year of completion. To the people that fell asleep in the back of the crowd, make yourself some black coffee. Not Turkish coffee if you are in Greece. So, as of later today, we're entering 9 days of Jupiter 22, square Chiron 22. I'm sorry, I should not be. Jupiter is about happiness, benevolence, joy. But this is death. It's murder. Okay. Mars is going to go all the way to 9 degrees Capricorn, so the first decan of Capricorn. And Mercury is 22ing in... No! Oh my god. Vulcan. You know, I feel like it's going to look with Mercury. You know that there is a saying, the straw that broke the camel's back. Mercury is something small, it's a small detail, but it's a little one. And we're gonna have 9 days of Jupiter's 22, okay, to kill or be killed, big killing, to do with religion, Chiron because of sovereignty of individuals, Aries, Mars, action that has a duration. Now, it's completion, but also 7th October was completion. Lilith ingresses into Sagittarius in the meantime. And then the 9 days, the number of the moon, completion, is going to culminate with this Mercury trining Chiron in conjuncting Jupiter on the 22nd degree of Sagittarius in Mula Nakshatra. Which means 9 days of big religious wounds around sovereignty related murders, culminating in a small lethal religious murder. Uh, Saturn ruling over Mars, and the moon will go over Saturn and then ingress into Aries. We're gonna have another event that's going to be a bit global and have duration. Because it's degree 22, it's killing, it's intentional, it's murder, okay? It's not like natural disaster. Now this is going to be very funny because it might arise as natural. It might masquerade itself. And for 9 days, then Jupiter moves to the next degree and Mercury moves to the next degree, applying to square Saturn. And but then the moon goes over Chiron. uh, Anybody that knows people with placements around 22 degrees, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Sagittarius, um, let's just say now Jupiter is something that can go on air like with people. Aries, we said individual sovereignty, army, heads of bureaucracy to do with army, weapon, entrepreneurs. And this can also be like bankers. insurance, bureaucrats, you know. But also could be religious factor or shipping factor, maritime, commanders of maritime forces can also be. Mula Nakshatra Sagittarius, big wealth, big importance, big world, worldly people. And the moon is going to go from Scorpio, where it's now, through Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus, um, which means that the moon is ruling over the 22 Jupiter, which means that we're starting off very likely with the moon in Jupiter sign. So religion, philosopher, bow and arrow, and then Capricorn, bureaucrats, and so on. Anything patriarchal. And then to Aquarius, scientists, astrologers. And then to Pisces, poets, mafiosi, drug lords, uh, channelers and diviners, holistic healers, psychiatrists, and just Piscean people overall. There is. Yes, Pisces can also mean the food that is coming from the sea, the animals of the sea. The birds can be Aquarius, um, and Aries. We said heads of something. Business people, military, you know, Aries. um, yes, by the time it crosses to Taurus, we have only Chiron 22 in, and it's not connected with Chiron. So 9 days of the 22nd degree being pinpointed by Jupiter, that is going to take 9 days on that very degree, which is, okay, Jupiter takes 12 years to surround the zodiac, so slower moving planet with Chiron, and then Mercury in the mix. I think Venus is going to be 22 in very soon, tomorrow. So Venus is going to be 22 in tomorrow with Jupiter. Okay, this is a very significant one because it begins with Venus 22 in and ends with Mercury 22 in. And um, can be a small religious war about sovereignty. Sun 26. Small religious war about sovereignty. Lilith going from 29 to 0 degrees Sag. From 29 Scorpio to 0 degrees Sag. So Venus is going to agree with Chiron, which means they can be women both assassinated or assassinated, and those women can be philosophers, religious people, mothers, because Jupiter is in sign of Cancer. But Venus in conjunct with Jupiter, it can be unexpected event. Venus rules over Uranus, so they can be associated with something explosive. Mars in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Mars in Capricorn ruled by Saturn. But separate and form a square to Saturn. Okay. What a point of interference says, because this is one of those transits where it's the time to get spiritual. Okay. This is where Krasi Atasio would say, be good, do good, pray to God. So I'm having a Krasi Atasio in my head recommending to raise the frequency. Falcon, watch Krasi Atasio, okay? Because she knows how to raise the frequency. I just light a candle or something and hope not to burn the entire house. What's more, I can tell you one of the things. Now, of course, people are not personally pinpointed by these transits. It will be around them. It will not be them. But even when that is around, um, even when that is around someone, that can be quite okay. There's going to be a chaotic effect to these type of things. But what I can say, when we had Intifada, a lot of people were saying, okay, it is time to leave. So if it's something that's not harming others, then that would be the time, to, I know I sound doom and gloom, okay, but yes, I also don't want to underestimate this. It's very potent time, and that would be the time to think, because with these many planets on those little degrees, it's kind of like, hey, if it's possible, why not lift energy and have better frequencies? Because whenever possible, in such times, how should I say that? With those events, is events like nobody is feeling too happy about that. It's the type of events where Even the people that predicted that they will be satisfied or happy with those events will not be. Okay? Is it not heated times? Of course it's heated times. But with so many planets, it's kind of like hardly anyone is happy after that. Even Mars is ruled by Saturn, that's ruled by their Jupiter. Mars is ruled by Saturn, that's ruled by their Jupiter, that's 22ing. Uranus is ruled by Venus, that's going to open the cycle with being on the 22 degree. Chiron is ruled by Mars, that is ruled by Saturn, that is ruled by Jupiter. Um, and then Mercury, that is ruling Sedna. Mercury is ruling Sedna, ending the 9-day cycle on the 22. So only planets other than that is the Sun, that will be ruled by Saturn, that is ruled by Jupiter, that is 22ing. And it's now ruled by Jupiter, that will be 22ing. And the Moon, that is ruling over Jupiter, that is 22ing, and is going to bring that 22 to the other signs. So, Falcon, I'm not gonna say we're all gonna die. No, but um, I'm sorry, but it's a bit sounding like there isn't anybody that didn't know anybody. We said that in 7th October. It's not same event, but it is the moon completing a cycle and then opening another one. And it's opening another one on the galactic center, so it's going to be some global cycle. But again, I see 9 days. Bas. When I get the look. Okay, this 2026 budget boost collective defense. 34 minutes ago. NATO spending pledges Trump's biggest foreign policy success. Rutte talks to BBC. Okay, I need to watch this interview. Good news for collective defense, for NATO and for Ukraine. For NATO, Jupiter is in the 11th house, Chiron in the 8th, and Sagittarius would be 4th house. Warned that Russia could attack allies within the next 5 years. Russia's President Vladimir Putin dismissed this as hysteria on Wednesday, but then he boasted about his nuclear abilities. And I said, I saw Putin Zelensky was talking about peace talks. And I said, it's not good time to think about that. It's not so reliable. Not because of Zelensky, but because the stars are just not so reliable for anything that is peace talks. Maybe with Mercury in Capricorn, they will have agreements that stand the test of time. But now there is a square where Mercury is approaching the square with Saturn. That can be time tests the words that are said. If the opposing side and the foreign patrons refuse to engage in substantive discussion, Russia will achieve the liberation of its historical lands by military means. Historical idea that you want to regain access to Ukraine. Okay, so Rutte said it was insane that Putin's pursuit of his historical idea that you want to regain access to Ukraine or over the entire territory that used to constitute the former Soviet Union had caused the death or serious injury to 1.11 million of his people. So I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. NATO approves 2026 budgets 40 minutes ago. Okay. I would need to watch that BBC interview. And then we have Putin accuses NATO of arms buildup and boasts of Russian nuclear forces. This happens. As I was talking about Pavel Cherenkov, now when I did on Rockefeller Astrology on Beachwood, I did either that on Spirit on Matter or Spirit and Matter on YouTube. I did a synastry of Putin and Mark Rutte. And the thing is that when it comes to communication, there can be challenges to communicate in ways that one understands the other correctly, which adds to the issues Now, Rutte is definitely the man to head NATO. I know a lot of people frown upon that. And you know, it's kind of like you see that synastry and you see that natal chart and that natal chart, which is NATO and the spirit of the times, and Mark Rutte and the transit to Rutte is pretty obvious, whether people like it or not. And for Putin, is definitely the man to head Russia in these times. Okay, Saturn Neptune in his natal chart. Saturn Neptune in Jupiter sign, which is to do with expansion. And this is why there are a lot of people that try to downplay Mark Rutte's claims. Astrologically, I wouldn't rule out a window of opportunity to attempt at Saturn Neptune like expansion. That upon the ingress to Aries can become militant, which would be February 14. Now, I'm not saying that Putin plans that, but definitely it can be an almost fated event. Which is seventh house to head of NATO, whose ruler is in his own seventh house, being keenly aware. While the Mercuries are not in the best position for synastry, um, the ability to be aware and predict without communication, which is what it needed, and it's basically needed for. It's very interesting when I think about it, because the ability to assess something without communication is incredibly important in war. And I do see that existing. Now, I said it before, we see a collapse of regional everything towards global, with the challenges that it creates, because anything that becomes too global creates an antithesis. Um, Putin accused NATO states of actively building up and modernizing their offensive forces, creating and deploying new types of weapons, including in outer space. Stressed that Russia's nuclear shield is more modern than the nuclear component of any official nuclear armed state. 99% is modernity of our nuclear forces. But no other nuclear country in the world has anything like this, says Putin. Okay, and he talks about the nuclear shield, but also the nuclear forces, which is exactly what it takes for United States to. This does not exist anywhere else in the world and will not appear anytime soon. I have named them, we know them. This includes avant-garde and Burevestnik and so on. And the ground forces are also growing and becoming stronger. So, again, this ping pong conversation I've been hearing since the ingress of Mark Rutte to NATO, and even a bit before that. Um, And we know that when people grow arms, then then they normally cross a certain threshold and bump, and we're about to reach that threshold. Now, it's very interesting. Do I see a big war starting now necessarily? Um, where is Aries? I'll be smarter when I see where Aries at. We are in December 17. And let's talk about December 20, where we have a new moon, 28 degrees Sag, squaring Neptune. And let's talk about people are stressed, I know. I also didn't have the best night's sleep today. No one had, I know. At least I don't feel alone with that. So, Aries, 24 degrees retrograde, Jupiter, Aries retrograde, 24 degrees. Yes, I cannot say that it is 2 meters from from Chiron. I can say that it is 2 steps from Chiron, but those are very small steps. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Jupiter. Okay, we saw January 6th that looked like a 9/11. These coming 9 days, uh, not looking so pretty. And because Mars is already in Capricorn, um, they will have long-term effect. I'm not saying this is a world war. I'm not saying this is a world war. Iran could come to be an issue. Let's see. Iran news. Swedish citizen arrested for spying for Israel during 12-day war. Um, yeah. Iran foreign minister says strikes won't stop nuclear program. Turkey and Iran unite against Israel. Israel calls Iran condemnation of Sydney attacks deceitful. Israel targeted Iran's nuclear scientists, investigating the impact of US-Israeli strikes on nuclear program. UN atomic watchdog has no right to inspect nuclear sites. Hits by attack. A photojournalist Alia Motabalzadeh arrested in Mashhad. What is this? Because if something happens to her, this could start something. But this is 12 December. We're 17 December. Um, she has cancer history, surgery, and previous chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Okay. Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, Venus 22ing in Jupiter sign. Mercury is journalists. Um, so that could be important. Another citizen detained in Iran for spying for Israel. Iran still seeks Israel destruction, says Mossad chief. Iran considers removing Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem. That's Iran. That's not Israel.